Wake up, pancreas. I'm Danny.
And I'm Alex.
And this is episode 9 of Wake Up, Pancreas. So, I have to admit, I did it again.
What'd you do?
Well, what was it? A few episodes ago, we were talking about how I just call people out for being type 1 diabetics. So, we were let me set the scene for our listeners out there.
Yes, please do.
We were at Kids Fest for the month of the military child. Shout out to our military kids out there and how resilient you are. Well, during Kids Fest, Marcel and I were standing in line to make a kite on this beautiful sunny day.
Yes, beautiful.
And out of the corner of my eye, I catch a little girl in a sundress. I realize how creepy that sounds.
Can you imagine if I would start a line like that? Out of the corner of my eye, I see a girl in a sundress. So automatically, like, everybody would be calling the cops on me. Like, what is wrong with this podcast?
I realize how creepy this sounds.
Yeah, what is wrong with you? But that's not the intention. Anyway, she was a type 1 diabetic, right? That's
yes, I saw the Dexcom on her arm.
Yes.
I was not stalking her, but I did see that she made a kite, and her mom went to go fly it. And Marcel's like, I don't want to make a kite. I was like, but don't you want to make a diabetic friend? We could go fly
She's
kites.
like, no.
And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay, I guess we're not making a friend. Doo-doo-doo. Hour and a half later, we are coloring at like the arts and crafts tent, and guess who pops up next to us? Right next to us in the chair.
Our new friend.
Well, she didn't know she was going to be our new friend.
Of course
but
not.
She is now. So I was like, Marcel, should I do it? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, here I go. So I sucked up my introvertedness and I said, I'm going to be an extrovert.
Of course.
So I walked up to the mom as she's busy with her daughter, of course. And I'm like, so this is a really weird question, but how old is your daughter?
Oh my God. Automatically pulls out her mace and maces you down. Get away, get away.
And she looked at me. I was like, no, I only ask because my daughter's a type 1 as well. And I saw that your daughter has a Dexcom on her arm. And she goes, oh, she's 5. And I was like, my daughter's 5 too.
Yeah, when Marcel's not even in sight, you're by yourself.
She was coloring and she actually didn't even look up from the coloring. And so then I got talking to her and she was like, yeah, we don't meet many that are our age. I'm like, you're actually the first female that is our age. I was like, so I figured I'd come up because she looks similar in age. And I introduced myself. She introduced herself. And I was like, well, do you want to switch numbers? Maybe we can meet up on base and we get girls together or something. So we did that. And then the introvert in me came out and I was like, okay, gotta go. Bye. I was like, oh, Marcel, you want to go do something else? Okay.
Do you want to play a kite?
Nice meeting you.
Oh my.
So I did it. Good thing you weren't there.
No, I don't know. What do you think? I'm going to do that?
Oh, you sure would? I think you would have been so embarrassed. You'd be like, Alex, let's go. Mom's being weird again.
No, never. I don't think I'd say that. Inside, I might say that, but I don't think I would say that outside.
Well, no, I've been really trying to probably since she was diagnosed, I'm like, let's find someone else.
Yeah.
Like, she needs a friend that can be like,
let's find
hey.
someone else.
And she's like, you know what she tells me? She goes, I like being the only diabetic. And I was like, do you really? Like, you don't want a friend? She's like, well, I do. And I was like, okay.
Oh my Lord.
So we joined. I've been looking at Facebook pages, and we're on the.
You know, I find it funny, and a lot of people probably, it's always we joined. It's never a we thing. It should be an I join, but I just tag along with something. But go ahead.
You just drag behind me like, all right, I'm coming. You rang. No, but we joined I joined us a Facebook page.
Yes, we
on
did.
A Facebook page.
Yes, we did.
Well, we've been on the military type 1 diabetes page for a while, and that's actually where we get a lot of our information for when devices are coming out and our insurance, are they covering specific things right now and things like that. So it's been good, but one of them caught my eye because it's like, oh, you should join this mom's page for type 1 diabetics. So I was like, okay, I will sign Alex up for this mom's page. So I gave up Facebook several years ago because I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's not worth it to me. But there's those things like this where you're like, I just need that information. So where do I get it from? Facebook.
Of course, I'm on a watch group, I'm pretty sure by now.
Oh yeah, he signed up for all the random sites. And then I'm the one that looks at them. Well, I signed us up and I forgot that I did because I had to answer these questions like, name one thing you would give a child that has a low sugar. Like those were the questions to get in the page. And it's like, okay, your answer's been forwarded to an admin. We will see if you're legit.
What do you mean? Name something you wouldn't give a type 1 diabetic. Sugar?
No, they said that you would to fix it low. And I'm like, I think that's what I said. I'm like, candy? Fruit snacks? But I guess they let us in, and I didn't realize it because, again, not my Facebook page. I maybe go on like once on the weekends just to take a look at the diabetes page and maybe some St. Bernards because I love them and I follow them as well.
Yes.
Well, Alex follows them as well. I'm just disguised as Alex.
No.
But you started asking me some questions. Like, I'm seeing some interesting stuff. And I didn't realize it was from the mom's page. I thought it was still from the military page.
I didn't even know I was signed up for this page. It's just, I thought, it's diabetes. Something. This is just random diabetes popping up on my page. So I started to look at these crazy conversations that are going on. And obviously, there's people coming back and forth. They're finding out their first time they're diabetic child. And one of the conversations they had is a parent bringing their young child to school, and in between this process of their child going to school and letting go of control and giving control to the nurse, I guess the nurse took full control and bypassed the parent and went straight to the endo, the doctor, right? They came up with a plan. Somehow they didn't even discuss with the parent. And throughout this, I'm like, what is going on? How would you feel if somebody just came over and said, you know what, we're gonna do this plan, but we're not gonna tell you what's going on?
I would be livid. And actually, it kind of like, so the nurse in me also says like, hey doc, why did you do that? Like, I understand the nurse maybe wanted answers, like I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, every nurse, and I would say doctors too, know that when it comes to disease processes like type 1 diabetes, that parent and that patient is the expert in their disease because certain things work for them that don't work for others. So it's interesting that the nurse would just go straight to the provider and not to the parents. But the fact that the provider would go along with it kind of hurts my heart a little bit too.
It went to the point where the provider and the nurse came up with a plan, and the plan was to basically let the child sit a certain period high, right, where she was in school, and they put her in the program where she was sitting high, and the parent could see her escalating high, and she would call, hey, can you treat her? What's going on? And it's almost a miscommunication in between. And can you imagine just your child just shooting up into the 400s slowly, and it's been more than 15 minutes. It's like, yeah, she's been treated. What's going on? And radio silence, no answer, no nothing.
That's crazy to me. And like, so we don't know everything, but I'm just curious, did the nurse respond to the parent, or did they say, sorry, the doc said to do this, so that's what I'm doing, and just cut the parent out?
From my understanding, reading a little bit of this trend, and by the way, I was at one point, I'm like, what is going on? This cannot be real. Because it seemed like full autonomy is given to the nurse. And my questions were, did they sign off certain rights to the nurse? You know what I mean? Is there some paperwork where you sign off your rights to the nurse so you take almost full autonomy?
Well, if you think about when we signed the kids up for school, we had to say that we had to sign something that says if this child needs care, like emergency care, they will send them to the ER and they will consent for stuff if the parent is not available. Correct. So I wonder if they signed something like that, but it still doesn't make sense that you would cut the parent out. Like that part kind of goes into my like, don't want to let go of control, because it reminds me of when Marcel was in preschool, and when we attempted it, and she had a personal nurse, but the nurse would not. It was almost like a power struggle between myself and that nurse, because she knew what I did as well, and like she didn't want to listen to what I had to say. But I'm like, hey, just give her some fruit snacks, she'll be fine. Instead, she continued to give her cheese, which I did not supply. She just kept getting it from the school kitchen and like force feeding her cheese. And if her sugar was going low, she'd sit her down, bring her inside, and make her eat cheese. Yeah. And I think she'd give her some juice or something too. And then she'd check her ketones every time. I'm like, her ketones aren't going to change every hour. Yeah. Like they shouldn't be. Like just because her sugar's high for a short amount of time.
But you think it goes full back to the full scope of almost understanding what's going on with the body and jumping to the far conclusion of, oh my gosh, she's about to shut down. She's about to, something catastrophic is about to happen to her body.
I feel like I have a theory, and it's just this theory. It's a Danny theory here. But I'll tell you that in the hospital, if I saw someone with a 300, 400 sugar, I'd be like, crap. It says call the provider because it gives me this scale. And if they're above, say, like 300, it says call provider and they'll give you instructions. But now that we have Marcel, I hate to say I'm becoming complacent, but I'm more just like, okay, she's high. Well, she just ate this. It'll come down. She's running around. Like, I'm more laid back about it.
Correct.
But I'm curious if, I haven't been a school nurse, but if it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this person's high, and it's that freak out phase, because you're like, they're not supposed to be this high.
And they don't see it as often as a diabetic parent would see it. And I'm going to be honest with you, when we see somebody all 300s, they're soaring. They're soaring at 300, and then they come back down, and then they eat something, and then they start soaring again to the 300s, and basically it starts from 100. Oh, we made it to 100. All right, you eat something, start shooting up 200, 250, 300, and so on. And then you have to treat them, and it comes back down slowly. I guess maybe they think it's just gonna rapidly come down magically.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can say with Marcel recently, and I mean, it's been like 2.5 years now, right?
Yes.
And it's just now clicking. Like, when she has those days that she's really high like that, and it's like, man, I feel like I can't get on top of it. Like, she might be up in the 300s and then drop down to, say, like 180 or something, but then it's time to eat again.
Yes.
And she's back up there again. I've just started over treating her with an extra unit. And I know, like, one unit will drop her so much, but I remember when she was high and I called the provider one time, he's like, oh, just give her one extra unit if she has ketones.
Correct.
So I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to give you one extra unit. And it drops her back down to the perfect range, and she's good for the rest of the day, because we're no longer doing that chasing thing. We finally dropped her low enough that now we're just kind of managing what she eats. We're not dealing with the up, down, because I'm sure that doesn't feel good on her either.
That's correct. Like, going back to this crazy story, obviously I haven't been following or anything, but I'm pretty sure they're going to take legal actions. The parents feel this helplessness, especially since the nurse is taking some of their control away. And it has to do with a lot of control, in a sense, right? This is obviously their child. Can you imagine someone else coming in and telling you, no, you're doing it wrong, so I went to the doctor and this is how I'm going to fix it? It just doesn't make any sense.
It's mind-blowing to me. So I actually have an update, because I saw it the other day. But it's mind-blowing to me. So there was this case. So most hospitals are focused on like quality improvement, and they implemented like rapid response teams. So if something just feels wrong, if patients are within like this specific criteria, or the one is just patients want it or the family wants it and they're just concerned, they can call a rapid response and ask that one be called, and more eyes come in with a fresh picture. And that happened because there was a little girl that the mom was like, she's thirsty. Like, no, she's fine. And I believe she couldn't speak. Don't quote me on this. It was a long time ago. I think it was like in the like 90s or early 2000s. And the little girl was sucking on like a washcloth, trying to get water out of it. And I believe she ended up passing. And she was trying to say, I need water, but everyone ignored the mom when she kept saying, hey, she wants water. She's thirsty. Like, no, she's fine. She's fine. That's just her. And it became this big thing of, you need to listen to the parent. Correct. They know their child. Listen to them. Listen to the patient. They know their body. So it's just mind-blowing that to me, being in the healthcare field, it's just mind-blowing that attitude is still out there, that we're going to beat around the bush and not go straight to the parent.
Yeah. Well, it comes back to that I know more. I know more than you do sort of deal. And it's sad to think about it that way, but most people take that approach. I know more, therefore you should listen to me.
Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. But I tell my students when I teach them as well, when I teach diabetes, is that when I first started nursing, I was like, I am so good at teaching diabetes. I am the best. And then several years later, Marcel's diagnosed, and I'm like, I am the worst. I was like, I didn't know this. Like, you're just so cocky because you only know so much, and then you start learning more. So it's like, I know more as a parent, and then I can put it together with like that nursing picture than I did as a bedside nurse any day. So it's just, I don't know. I have a hard time with that one.
That's just crazy. But you know what? This new page obviously brings a lot of awareness and a lot of communication in between people. And this is a horrible story that's going on to these parents. But at the same time, it brings awareness to everybody else that, you know what, maybe we should keep a track of what's going on. Make sure that we have good communication with our nurses. And for us, that our child's about to go to school, right? It's all like, I'm back in my head, I was like, oh my God, what is going on?
But it goes back to what I said a few episodes ago. I said that it might be better that they don't have a nurse on staff, but it's a lay person, because I feel like we've gotten through the lay people easier than we have nurses. Nurses have given us more pushback and saying, nope, this says this, it needs to be black and white. And I'm like, diabetes isn't black and white. And lay people and people that we just kind of train and talk them through it kind of take that cue from us.
By the way, when you say lay people, I keep thinking lame people. So you better be very specific.
Not lame, lay, but just people that aren't medical people. Because if we're calm about it and we say not a big deal, yes, human beings, those things, those humans out there, they seem to be okay with it too. But are you ready for the update?
What update?
Drum roll.
What? About your new friend called you? Or?
No, the update of that story. The mom scheduled an appointment to meet with the nurse and the head of the school and principal and all that. So I don't know where that went, and I'm sure there's an update up there now, but I'm glad she was able to get in with them pretty fast to find out. So that's all I have for today.
Yeah, that's it for today, guys.
Well, that's it for Wake Up Pancreas. See you next time.